By way of introduction, I never assume, everybody knows who I am. I've worked with Michelle now for a couple of years. My name is Arnauld Nakaha. I've worked for Beachbody now for 6.5 years. My background is in health and fitness, in direct sales, and it's been something that I've been at it, a student of, and continue to be a student of for the past 13, 14 years. And so what I wanted to share, as Michelle invited me, I started to think about what I wanted to share. I wanted to share a personal story, and hopefully this can help you in your journey, in your Beachbody journey, wherever you are, whether you're just getting started, whether you are having a great year, a great month, or if you are trying to push to get to hit your goals that you set at the beginning of this year. You'll quickly find that I share this story that it really covers all areas of your business and every phase of your business, because this business has phases, and those phases are kind of a revolving door. You don't stay in one phase for too long. So if you're up here, understand there's another phase coming, and if you're down here, understand there's another phase that's coming. But understand that you also control some of that. And so I want to take you back about 3 years ago. And I'm actually facing a mountain here. It's a beautiful view. So I actually want to share that with you. Hopefully the camera on my laptop can show some of the beauty that I'm looking at here. I work out of the Utah office. And so I'm going to bring it really, really close to the window and see if you guys can capture that. This is a mountain range by where we work at. Obviously not a bad view, right? And it's pretty to look at from up here. A lot of things are pretty to look at from down here, actually, not up here. And so we looked at it for a couple of years until we decided, you know what, we ought to try and climb that mountain. And so some of you that are expert mountain climbers, outdoors men and women, some of the stuff that I'm going to share is going to feel very basic. And that's where I was. They thought that it would be a good team activity to do this. And so let me take you back to kind of what my thinking was. My thinking was, we're going to go for a nice little hike. And the mountain looks great from here. It's probably even better from up there. And some of you, when you started your Beachbody business, you might have looked at a post that Chelsea shared, or Michelle, or Amy, or Megan, or Jenny shared, and you told yourself, boy, that looks fun. Like, that coaching thing looks like a lot of fun. You get to work out and take sweaty selfies and hang out with like-minded people. Boy, there's some good things there. And you saw a lot of the highlights. And that's what I saw from down here looking up at that mountain. I saw the highlight, the way that the sun would hit it. The greenery during the summer, the snow-covered peaks during the winter. It all looked very nice. And so here we are. A few of the more organized people, the people that have actually done these hikes before, get us as a team. Here in Utah, we've got the regional sales team, and said, hey, listen, let's go climb that mountain. And a lot of you, and some of you that are on here, it took you a little bit to say yes to Beachbody, but a lot of us are kind of like driven by a challenge. And so we immediately said yes, like all of us said yes, right? And so we get ready and we sign up for it, and we tell ourselves when we're going to meet and what we're going to need and all that stuff. And some of us are more ready than others. Some of us are more ready than others. Some of us have a background in mountain climbing. Some of us, have a background in kind of athletic performance that requires endurance, long-term, long distance endurance. And so about a week out, the first of the group drops out. And we asked, like, what happened? We were all in it. The group started as 10, right? So the first one drops, and reasons were, there's a lot of different reasons, okay? There's from, I think, couldn't find a babysitter. My husband has to work that night, something or the other, right? there is either excuses or reasons that will show up in your life. The way you interpret that, whether it's an excuse or a reason, is up to you. And so the group went from 10 to 9. And then about 3 days out, another one drops out. Again, something came up, right? There's always something that came up. Honestly, within 2 days, I asked myself if I was sane to want to do this, okay? Because within a day, from climbing the second highest peak in all of Utah, I go to Shields, which is a local outdoor store, to acquire some gear, okay? Because I'm thinking, I probably shouldn't go with just my Nikes and shorts. I hear it gets pretty cold up there. I hear that the terrain might be slippery, maybe tough sometimes, right? The closer you get to the rubber, hitting the road, the more you realize the amount of work that it's actually going to take. The peak, the crescendo, is just the result of all that hard work. What happens in between is dictated by what you do, how well you prepare. Obviously, I was terribly prepared for it, okay? The night before, I'm looking for shoes, I'm looking for gear, I'm looking for those headlights, because guess what the brilliant idea was? The brilliant idea was to go there around 1 a.m. so that we can capture the sunrise, right? It was going to be beautiful. All of us were going to do it together. We're going to hold hands and sing Kumbaya at the top of the mountain, and it's going to be great, right? So I'm at the store around like 9 p.m., like looking for stuff. The store is about to close down. I'm very ill prepared. And then I finally show up, and all of us are kind of bundled up now. So the group started at 10. Now there's 8 of us. And so we meet at the base of the mountain. The mountain is about 11,000 feet, and we were at 4,000 feet at the base of the mountain. And so we gear up, and it's kind of colder than I thought it was, right? And it's dark, and it's just us, and there's the mountain there staring at us. So we take off, we're going up the mountain, and it just kind of goes back and forth. For any of you that have gone hiking, several altitudes up in the air, it's just kind of back and forth. It's not a uphill like this. It's uphill and around and around and around. We would keep going. And so there's several things that happened that literally scared the crud out of me, where I'm going, you know what? I'm crazy to even do this. Right now, it's about 2 a.m. I'd be in my deep sleep. I would have great dreams. Why am I doing this? Let me pause for a moment. Do you ever ask yourself that, either in the middle of your workout or when you're doing your power hour? It's like, I could just be watching whatever is on TV these days. I don't know what's on TV these days because I don't watch a lot of TV. So let me say maybe, what's that race? Amazing Race or The Bachelor, right? A couple of ladies here in the office seem to have seem to love that show, or whatever he's on, right? Where I could just be out there enjoying my time with my family, but here I am, I'm doing my power hour, where sometimes you question yourself and you question why you're doing this for. And so those questions were going through my mind, especially about probably 1/4 of the way out. And I look out into, and I'm at the back of the line, by the way. I'm just trying to keep up. And everybody's just, going along, and I'm just trying to keep up. And I look out into probably about 100 yards out, and I see these two eyes staring at us. I'm like, crud. Now, for those of you that don't know, I'm originally from Burundi in Central Africa, and I lived in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. And typically when there's like 2 eyes staring at you, it's like a cheetah or a lion if you're in the middle of the wilderness. And so I'm going, guys, stop right now, right? I'm going. So the person that's in front, of course, they keep going, and all of a sudden they all stop. And we look up, and we obviously startle it. Luckily, it was a deer, like that was just staring at us. But I'm thinking, there is prey here. Where there is prey, there's probably a predator. So I'm pretty sure there are some kind of mountain lions around, and we're just going along, and we're just going by faith, right? I'm just going by faith that the people that are in the front, the people that have done this before, know what to do and what not to do. And honestly, I didn't have a choice, right? For some of you, you came on and you're going, you know what? Megan, I'm just going to trust what you're saying, and I'm going to do my power hour because you've been there and you've done that. And that's exactly what I had to do. I had to put one foot in front of the other, another one in front of the other. And so we're going along, and we now kind of get to like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. time frame. And now it's like dusk. So the sun is starting to set. You can't see it. And remember, we're trying to get to the top when the sun rises, which was exactly 6:37 a.m. 6:37 a.m. We knew exactly when we needed to get there by, right? And so now it's like 4 or 5 a.m. and we get to a point where it levels off a little bit. And then you look up and you go, we've been going for like 3-4 hours and we still have all that to cover. And we look up at the mountain. Now we're like, it's leveled off and you can actually see what you're trying to get to. Whereas before, we loved it. It was dark. All you saw was the next 10 yards in front of you. That's all you saw. And so it helped us really just focus on those steps. Whereas at 4 or 5 a.m., you look up and you can actually see the immensity of the task at hand. And some of you, we're in August. It's that 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning, and you're looking up to December, and you're still saying, I still have a ways to go. I still have so many steps to go. Whereas before, you were focused on just taking one step after the next, after the next, after the next. Now, there's 8 people at that point, right, that started. One of us says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit back here, and I'm going to just watch you guys go up, and I'm going to ask you to take pictures, take video, but I think I've done enough. I've done all that I can. Some of you have customers or coaches that have given up on themselves, that are saying, you know what? I think I've done all that I can. I think I'm going to sit here and I'm going to enjoy what I've done. I think I've gone far enough. And some of you might be telling yourselves that very same thing. That thought ran through my mind several times where I'm going, you've done more than you've ever done before. Why do you need to push? Why do you need to go to the top of the mountain? And I had to rely on other people. The worst thing that I could have done was to rely on myself only. Sometimes you just have to tell the team that I need help. I need some accountability. I need someone else to believe in me until I believe in myself. I need someone else to show me what to do because what I've done so far is not working. I need someone else to just look at what I'm doing and courageously tell me what I'm doing wrong and help me along, or at least run alongside with me. And that's what I did, because I also looked back and I said, I've gone all this distance so far. I don't want to say that I got 3/4 of the way up, that I got half of the way up and gave up. At that point, I took it personal and said, I need to do something. I need to make these first 3-4 hours worth it. I need to make them worth it, and I need to tell myself that at least I tried. At least I did the very best. I challenge you to do that, right? I challenge you to look at these 8 first months of the year and make them count. And you don't make them count by what you've done so far. You make them count by what you do after this. Let me drop another side of truth as well. These next 4 or 5 months, the same way these next couple hours, were not going to be the easiest. They were probably going to be some of the hardest, because you've expended so much energy already. You've expended so much energy that you're going, boys, is this worth it? Is this something that, I should even push myself to do, right? And it gets tough. Here's why it gets tough. Because now we were going back and forth, right? And we looked up, and now the terrain got even rockier, right? The higher up you get, the less vegetation there is. So you're not covered by trees. It's all rocks. Like if I look at the top, it's just all rocks. And these rocks, you have to go back and forth, right? Because there's no way to go up. But we had to make a decision. We said, now it's like 5 a.m. and we're trying to hit the peak at 6:37 a.m. Sometimes you got to do a little bit of reverse engineering and truly figure out if your goals and your activities are in balance. Here's what I mean by that. Sometimes your goals are up here and your activities are down here. What you have to do is you have to change one of two things. Either you reduce your goal and up your activity. See, if we were going at the pace that we were going, we weren't going to reach the top until between 7 and 7:30, right? So we had a choice to make. Do we keep the same pace and just watch the sunrise as it comes across the top of the mountain? Or do we accelerate our pace and probably go through even more obstacles and get to the top at our desired outcome time? That's what we ended up deciding. We're going to push ourselves, okay? So here's what it looks like. So now imagine, going back and forth like this. We said we could go back and forth, but if we're going to reach the top, we're going to have to go straight through the middle, right? So if you go back and forth like this, the path is already there. If you go straight down the middle, there's no path. You're going over rocks. So we start going over rocks, okay? One of my biggest fears is the fear of height. Is anybody afraid of heights, okay? If you're afraid of heights, the worst thing you can do is to do what? To look back or look down. So I really looked up the whole time. So we're going up, we're going up, we're going up. Until I grab a rock. I remember vividly grabbing a rock because you're pulling yourself up. I grabbed the rock, and the rock wasn't actually attached to the mountain. And he detached from the mountain. Luckily, I didn't pull myself up with the rock, but I pulled it enough that he started falling. And I made the biggest mistake, which I turned back to look at the rock falling. And the rock is falling down the mountain. And I'm looking back and I'm going, that could be me falling down the freaking mountain. What in the bleep, 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 insert every kind of bad word am I doing? But here's the thing. I had nowhere else to go. Write this down. Comfort is the enemy of success. Comfort is the enemy of success. Guess what? I was way uncomfortable. I didn't have, my back was against the wall. I was literally caught between a rock and a hard place. And a hard place was me going back down just like that rock. Here's what I'm not asking you to place yourself in a place of discomfort. But you have to find just that right place where you're going to be pushed enough to want to do a little bit more and uncomfortable enough to want it a little bit more for yourself, right? And that's where I was. I had to push a little bit more. And so here I am, and we're climbing. And, and by the way, you're going up rocks. So you're hurting yourself against the rocks. You're cutting yourself up. It's horrible. It's not a great experience, right? But you know what? I kept looking at the top of the mountain. So we're going up. Now it's like 6:20, okay? 6:20. We have like 17 minutes to get to the top. And we get to this ridge, okay? And the top of the mountain is probably another like 150 yards out. But there's one more obstacle, okay? It's like, if you look at it, it's this ridge. You're like at the top of the mountain. It's like this. And you're at the top here, right? At that point, there's no trees to hang on to. There's no pathway that is there because very few actually make it all the way up there, right? So the pathway is not there. But before I get there, I see this guy that's coming up the mountain. And he's got you could tell that he was very experienced. And he's coming up the mountain, right? He's coming up the mountain. And I stop, and he's very cordial, and he's saying hello to everyone. And one of my colleagues and I get to talking to him, and I'm like, this guy has got to be at least 50, right? But he's like going up the mountain. We get to talking to him, and it turns out that he climbs to the top of the mountain twice a week. And he's not 50. He's 70. He's 70 years old. And here we are, and both of us are like less than half his age. And we're going, what excuse do we have, right? But we could have easily taken that as something that just deflates us. We looked at that as, you know what? He probably started exactly where we were. And so now we're at the top of the ridge. And remember, I said the fear of heights is my worst fear, the worst fear that I have. And so we get going, and these 150 yards feel like 10 miles to me, because I'm literally going and I'm shaking the whole time, right? Like I'm setting one foot in front of the other and I'm shaking. And I'm like, you guys just go. And finally what I do, rather than stand and walk, I go down, okay, and I'm on all fours. I don't care how it looks like. So think about a 6'4" Gigantosaurus, okay, on all fours going on the ridge of the mountain. Everybody's looking at me like, what is he doing? But guess what? It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't need to look good. You don't have to have the best looking graphics on your social media. You don't have to have the latest and greatest video editing on your social media. As long as you just do the fundamentals, as long as you continue to do the 4 vital behaviors, at some point you will arrive, right? You will arrive. You need to make sure you just do those basic things. And that's what I was doing. It wasn't the greatest, snapshot or the greatest picture to post on Facebook, right? But you know what? It was the best thing that I could do at that point. And it was a lot easier to get there. So it's 6:20, 6:30, 6:35, with 2 minutes to spare, we get to the top of the mountain. We get to the top of the mountain. And guess what? I was dead last. I was the last one to make it to the top of the mountain. And you know what? It didn't take anything away from me. I was sitting at the top of the mountain. I was beyond tired, but I was ecstatic. I was so happy that I was there. And to see, like, there's no way you can describe being at the top of the mountain. And what made it worthwhile wasn't necessarily that I was at the top of the mountain, as much as the work that it took to get to the top of that mountain, okay? To get to the top of that mountain. And I want to ask you, okay? I want to ask you what that mountain is for you, okay? I want you to write it down, okay? You probably have it, but what is the top of the mountain for you in December, okay? And then what is one thing you can do to get way outside of your comfort zone to be at the top of that mountain, okay? By the way, at the end of, all that, I did take a picture signaling up, like Usain Bolt, the sprinter, does, right? Like signaling up. You would have thought, man, that guy climbed that mountain in 2 hours. It took us from 4.5 hours to get up there. 4.5 hours to get to the top of the mountain. Someone could easily have seen me posing, going like this at the top of that mountain, and thought, man, he looks awesome over there, right? They wouldn't have understood any part of the journey, right? It's very easy to look at someone's chapter 12 and compare your first chapter with that. It's very easy to look at social media. It's very easy to look at Summit and all the recognition and go, gosh, Lorna just makes it look easy. Courtney, how did you get there? You make it look just so effortless, right? And the lesson there for me is anytime I see someone achieving anything, I take it with a grain of salt, and I know that it took a lot for them to get there, okay? All right, so here's what I want to close with. If we keep doing what we've always done, we're going to get the same results, okay? And so I want to share something else. In order for you to completely change the course of, the course of your results, you need to trigger something. You need to do something a bit more than you've done before in order to reach your goal. Okay, here's what I mean. I'm going to close with this this story, Michelle, and then I'm going to pick on a few of you. I hope you've written the top of your mountain. What is your goal? Okay. The next part is, the goal is one thing. The action is another. Okay. I want to leave you with an action. I want to challenge you to take action. Okay. So this is the last story. About Chris, not last year, but the year before, we did another team activity. I should know to just never show up at team activities, because every time we do one, it's going to be something crazy. Okay, so all of you know Michael Neiman, right? You see him at Summit. You know, he's like an actor. And by the way, he's a trained actor. Like, what he does should not be reproduced at home, okay? Because what he does, he's a trained actor. So he took us on an activity, and the activity was in Culver City, and it was at the Actors Gang Theater. It's a theater where the who's who of Hollywood has been, okay? Sean Penn has been there. Tim Robbins from Shawshank Redemption, he's been there. Like, all these who's who A-list celebrities have actually been there. That's where they cut their teeth. So we went out there, and the whole point of the exercise was to learn how people act and to get outside of our comfort zones. And going in, I thought, you always kind of, look at things hunky-dory. This is going to be great. This is going to be fun. We're going to watch a few people act. We're going to judge them and critique them, and then we're going to move on to the next. Well, those same people, they did act, and they showed us different things. But the thing that they hadn't told us is we got to act. And we didn't get to act in front of complete strangers. We got to act in front of people we're going to see that Monday. So we went on Friday. We got to act in front of people that we're going to see on Monday. Our colleagues, that's who we're going to act in front of. Okay, so let me set the stage. With acting, there's 4 emotions you need to show. Fear, anger, sadness, and happiness. Okay? Fear, anger, sadness, and happiness. And each of us got to not only choose a costume, but we also got to choose a character. Okay? And there's all of us there lined up. And there's Michael judging us. Okay? And then there's the lady who owns the theater, who has critiqued Sean Penn. And these people that are showing up out of nowhere, that have 0 acting experience, are going to act. Okay, so 2 lessons that I learned from it as I looked at people go in front of me. That's always great when you get to go last or in the middle. I was going towards the end, which was great. One is, if you're timid about things, if you're not really giving of yourself, Michael and that lady, we're going to keep you there until you show all 4 ranges of emotion, okay? And the second thing is, you need to capture their attention quickly. Meaning, if you just kind of go slow and steady, they're going to keep you up there, right? Like, you're going to think, like, let me just go under the radar and let me just do, like, just enough to pass by. The more you do that, the more they keep you up there. Okay, so my character that I chose was this think like witch doctor that has lotions and potions, and he's kind of scary, but also intriguing at the same time, but mostly crazy, right? So I work for corporate. We're very, corporate, right? And I had to act crazy in front of my peers. I had to get the crazy out of me. So I want to show you a clip, okay? I'm going to be vulnerable, like I said. I'm going to show you a clip of that, of me acting as, the character's name was Papa Peña. Papa Peña. And I'm showing all 4 ranges of emotions, okay? If for those of you that are actors, please don't judge me. That was the first time acting, but this is what I did. And I was up there for like maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes, whereas there's other people that were there for 5-10 minutes, okay? And it was torture. It was horrible. So I'm going to share a clip. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to make sure that the sound is up. And I hope you're still my friend after seeing this, and that you still think that I'm normal-ish after seeing this as well. So first of all, I'm going to share my screen, Michelle. Let me know if you can see this. Can you see this? Can you give me a thumbs up, Megan?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Good.
Okay, so let me crank up the volume here. And Let me know if you can see, if you can hear this okay.
Papa Pena. Yeah. Papa Pena. Yeah. See if you can plant your feet. Yeah. What state is it? Happy, sad, afraid, or angry? Fear. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see it in your eyes. Find one set of eyes and really share that fear. Yeah. And then share it with somebody else. Yeah. And share it with somebody else. Yeah. And share it with somebody else. Yeah. Now get angry. Now be angry. Yeah. And share with somebody over here. Yeah. And now be happy. Yeah. Oh, but be happy. Yeah. Plant your feet. And now try sadness. Oh. Yeah. What's behind that curtain? What's behind there? Yeah. Open your eyes and share with somebody out here. Yeah. Sad. Is that sad? Yeah. Yeah. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. Yeah. And now in some kind of gibberish, just I want to hear a potion, Papa Pena. Hold on. It's great. With the state. I want to hear all the states in there. So pick one for each little part.
Shaka Koloji.
Yeah.
Shaka Koloji.
Yeah, and then you got after. Yeah.
There he goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nutrition. Remember to drink your Shikatochi.
That's so uncomfortable. But here's the thing, guys. You have to be willing to get way outside of your comfort zone. And if you want to reduce the amount of time that it's going to take for you to reach your goals, you have to do things way outside of your comfort zone. So I want to challenge you on this call. Number one, to reaffirm what your mountain is. And number two, to reaffirm what is that scary thing that you need to do, okay, to reach that goal. So, Michelle, I want to toss it back to you. And if there's a couple minutes, I'm going to call on a few people and just unmute them, okay?
Okay, absolutely.
All right. Very cool. So, let's start with Courtney. Courtney just seems ready. Courtney Weiss? Courtney, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, Courtney. So why don't you share your mountain? What does your mountain look like? And what is one thing that maybe scares you a little bit that you have to do in order to get there?
Because you called on me first. No, actually, it's anxiety. So I have a lot of social anxiety when it comes to like even team calls with a whole bunch of people, talking to a whole bunch of people, getting on the phone with people. I'm like sweating right now. But that's like, I guess it's like my lifelong battle that I'm constantly trying to step out of my comfort zone with.
Well, way to go for you to be here. You could easily have shut down your camera, okay, and not been here. So I appreciate you even being here and understanding that. What is your mountain that you're trying to climb? What do you want to get to by the end of the year?
Oh, as far as business? Well, this is kind of embarrassing, but I think I've been a coach for about 6.5 years, and I'm still stuck at Emerald. I can't seem to climb any further and find working coaches. Of course, Summit, my goal was to be like a 2-star, which of course didn't happen, but by the end of the year, I was hoping for 1 star at least.
Okay, so I would say 2 things. Number one, make it a non-negotiable. And then number 2, I would just get with your success partner, upline, and just write down what those last few months are going to look like so you can actually make it happen. And don't be afraid of critique. Don't be afraid of someone telling you that, you know what, you got to stop doing that, do more of this, and be completely coachable. You saw the remarks that the lady was giving me. It's like, do this, do that. You have to be willing to be directed like she was to get to where you need to be. So I appreciate you sharing that, Courtney. There's no question that if you continue putting yourself outside of that comfort zone, there's no question you will get to your goal. So thanks for jumping on.
Thank you.
Michelle, is there time for one more person?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, let's see. How about Stacy Dufton? Is Stacy Dufton on? I think she's on the phone. Will you unmute her and see if she's on?
Trying to see. Oh, there she is. Okay, Stacy.
Stacy, can you hear us? Looks like she's still on mute.
Yeah, I can't seem to unmute her.
Saved by the mute button. All right, you'll have to pick on her next time. How about Chelsea Darling? Let's try with Chelsea Darling. She's also on the phone, not on camera. So you're going to need to look at the very back of your, all of a sudden people are dropping off. It's like, oh no.
Chelsea Darling, you get on here.
Chelsea, can you hear us? Chelsea's not on. Okay, Michelle, I'll leave it up to you. Who do you want to call to share their mountain and what they need to do?
Well, let's hear from Shelby.
Why I knew that was going to happen, I don't know.
Hey, Shelby, thanks for being on.
Yeah. So, okay, what was the question?
So there's 2 questions, right? So one, relating to the mountain, right? So what is your mountain that you're trying to get to from a business standpoint? And then 2, what is one thing that if you would do more of, you would get there a little bit faster? Something that maybe makes you uncomfortable, but you know you have to do.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like I'm a really open book. Like if people ask me, and I have no problem like sharing my life and my struggles and stuff like that when people ask me and like when people want to know. But for me to like put it out there on my own, I kind of struggle with a little bit. The last like month and a half, or I should say, I've kind of jumped out of that and like just tell the entire freaking world all my shit. So I don't really care anymore. But yeah, it's more so just kind of, I tend to like make my posts and stuff a little too quickly and don't really actually put the time and effort into it. So I think that that's kind of my struggle and I don't really pay too much attention to it. And my mountain is to get to diamond by Christmas. And I know that my non-negotiables have become very negotiable and I've slacked on that the last month for reasons, and I know that that's my own fault and my own doing. So I need to kind of snap myself back into reality and just do what it is that I wanted to do when I started this like almost a year ago. So to finish off the year being diamond would be my mountaintop for 2017.
Fantastic. Well, listen, sometimes you've got to be like the slingshot, right? Pull back to go faster. Sit back and really just kind of ride it out and and plan it out in order for you to go faster. Certainly, as far as going fast, you go at your own pace, whatever makes sense to you. You don't all have to be Papa Peña and act crazy in front of people and share that with the world. And now the world they're going to see your side of crazy. But I tell you what, it's worth it to know that you've given your all, to know that you've left everything, on the carpet, that you've done everything that you could do. And your best is the best you can do. And your best is good enough. Your best is good enough. Guys, we're going places. We're only in the U.S. and Canada. I have the privilege and honor to help the company go international. The best is yet to come. We're going to the United Kingdom. That'll be a trampoline to a lot of other countries. You have the chance to get going before the proverbial starting gun goes off between now and October. We'll have that. The suite of products and programs and incentives that we have are going to continue to grow between now and the end of the year. Looking into next year, we're going to continue. We're going to keep the pedal to the metal. We've got the week of hard labor coming up. We've got Clean Week coming up. There's so many things for you in place to make it happen. Remember that if you can just continue helping enough people be successful, this will turn back and you will in turn be successful yourself. So I hope that this will help you going, maybe put some fuel in your tank to end the week strong. Michelle, Amy, all of you that are on this call, just want to thank you for having me and look forward to a great end of the month and a great end of the year with you. So Michelle, back to you.
Thank you so much. I feel so lucky to be able to call on you whenever I need that bit of motivation, and wanted to share it with all of you because you've brought me out of the depths of some bad months this year. So thank you so much for taking the time to share with us today.
Absolutely. And thank you. See you, everyone.
Okay. Bye, guys.